Hello everyone, I'm Sandra from the Cherry Heart podcast and I'm here today to show you how to make my Daisy Puff Hexagons. I'll also be showing you in a separate tutorial how to join the hexagons together using my modular join method, which is a join as you go method. So I'll pop the links to that tutorial and the pattern. I've got a written pattern for this that I'll be bringing out. So I'll pop the links for that and the yarn I've used and the colours and all that kind of useful information in the down bar below. So if you have a little look in there, if you click the arrow at the bottom and have a look in there, you'll be able to find the links that you need. I'll be using UK terms in this tutorial. So I'm in the UK, so that's what comes to mind most readily for me, but I'll try to remember to mention the US terms as well, and I'll pop a little message up on the screen so that you can have that there as a reminder. So I'll begin with this nice salmony colour yarn, and I'm just going to make a small chain to start. So I'm making a slip stitch first of all. If you do have any questions about any of the stitches I'm using in this tutorial, I do have a photo tutorial website of crochet stitches. I'll link that below as well for you, and that will give you photos step by step of each stitch. So that will help you if you're struggling with any of them, but I'll try to show you as clearly as I can here as well. So I'm just making a little chain of 4 there, so 4 chains, and I'm going to make a slip stitch into the first chain just to give us a little circle to work with. So there we go, there's my little tiny loop, and then I'm just going to make 1 chain, and I'm going to make 6 UK DCs, so that's US SCs, into this little loop to begin. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches in there, and now I'm just going to join to my first stitch just to close up that round. Go a little slip stitch into there, and there is my tiny little middle for my flower. And I'm now going to cut the yarn and change colour. Now you don't have to do this, you don't have to keep this tiny middle a different colour. If you wanted to just carry on in the same colour yarn just to make things a bit easier, that's absolutely fine. But I just like that little tiny little extra bit of colour in the middle. I like that, so I change colour. Okay, so I'm going to take my little loop and I'm going to add a new colour in. So I've got a pale pink here, and I'm just going to make 2 chains to begin, and this is where we're going to do the puff stitches now. So I'm going to yarn over, pop the hook into that same stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then to make a puff stitch you want to pull it up to the height that you're working, so about the same height as a treble stitch or a US double stitch. So once you've done that, you just repeat that a few times. So yarn over, into the same stitch, yarn over and pull through, and pull up to that same height. So that's twice I've done that now, and these are what I call 4 treble puffs, or 4 DC puffs for US people. And that means I do that 4 times. So yarn over, hook through, yarn over, pull through and pull to the same height. So that's 3, so I'll do 1 more. And I've got a nice wodge of lovely puffy yarn there. So to secure that in place, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through all the loops on the hook apart from the very last one. So I'm just going to leave that last one on there, and then I'm going to yarn over 1 more time and just pull it through those 2. So that secures it together and gives you a nice puffy fat stitch. So then I'll do 2 chains, then I'm going to do a puff stitch into the next DC or USSC. So I'm going to yarn over, insert the hook in, yarn over and pull through, and then I'm going to pull that up to that same height. So that's roughly the height of a UK treble stitch or a US double stitch. And I'm going to do that 4 times. So yarn over, pull through and up, yarn over, pull through and up, and one last time. So I've done that 4 times. So I yarn over, I pull through all of those loops apart from one, and then I yarn over and pull through those last 2. So I'm going to repeat that all the way round. So 2 chains in between each puff, and then a puff into each of these 6 stitches of the first round. So you should end up with 6 lovely fat puff stitches once we're done. So there we go. Look how fat and plump they are. Lovely. So there we go. I'm back round to the beginning. I've made my 6 puff stitches. I'm just going to do 2 chains, and then to finish I'm going to make a slip stitch into the top of this first puff. So I'll come up nice and close so you can see. I turn it to the back so I can see where it is, and it's that one there. So let's go into that one. There we go. And I just do a slip stitch straight through that, and I'm going to cut the yarn. So I'll just bring the yarn to the back of the work by just going into the stitch from the other direction and pulling it through. So there we have our final little puffy flower. You'll find it curls over quite a bit. That's fine, that's how it's supposed to look, or at least that's how I like it to look anyway. So it means that on the final hexagon it's the puffy flower sits nice and sort of proud, which I quite like. I like that it emphasises that puffiness. So that's the well, it looks a bit like a weird jellyfish. I call this the jellyfish stage, where it's got all those tentacles hanging out at the bottom. But let's move on and make the next round. So I like to do these next 2 rounds in cream. So that's what I'm going to do now. So we'll join our cream yarn in one of the 2 chain loops. So there it is. So any one of those is fine. So just attach the yarn on there, and this time we want 4 chains to start, and then we're going to make 2 treble crochets into that same space. So that's US double crochets. So 1 and 2. Again, I'm going to assume you know how to do a treble stitch or a US double stitch, but if you don't, those stitch tutorials are linked below if you need them. Now we're going to work into the next chain space. So in each one of these chain spaces I'm going to make 2 trebles, 2 chains, and then another 2 trebles. So that's US, 2 doubles, 2 chains, 2 doubles. So into the next chain space then. So that's 2 trebles, 2 chains, and another 2 trebles. So this is going to be making the sides and the corners of the hexagons. So then straight into the next chain space. And when you're putting your hook in that chain space, just be careful you're actually getting just the space. It can be quite easy to snag your hook on the sort of strands of the puff and sort of pull that out of shape. So just take a little bit of care on that and just make sure you don't get any of those strands caught up into it. Okay, so I've done that in all the spaces round to the beginning. So I'm back round to the beginning one now, and I just need to do 1 more treble into that beginning space where I started to finish this side off. And then I can make a slip stitch, and I'm going to make it into the 3rd chain. So there was 4 chains at the start, I'm going to make it into that 3rd chain there. There we go, so slip stitch, and it's a teeny tiny hexagon shape now. So we're going to make that a bit bigger. So slip stitch into the corner space and then a 4 chain start. And this time we only want 1 treble into the corner space. Then, or that's a USDC. And then I'm going to make 1 treble into each of these 4 trebles here. So 1 DC into each USDC. Go, and then I'm back to the space. So for all of these corner spaces, these 2 chain spaces for each corner, I'm going to make 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble. So that's 1 US double, 1 chain, 1 US double. A treble, 2 chains, and a treble. And then again, a stitch into each of the 4 stitches below. And then 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble into the corner space. So we'll work that round and I'll meet you back at the beginning. So I've come round to my last side here. I've done my last chain space and I've made 3 of the stitches into these 3 trebles here. And I've just got the last stitch to go, which was actually the starting chain of the row below. So I'm going to make a treble into that last stitch, and then I can join straight to the starting chain from this round. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to join in that 3rd chain of the beginning 4 chain. Okay. So that completes that round. So to finish off, we're just going to add that last round. So I'm going to join my different colour in any of the chain spaces. So this round is made in exactly the same way as I made the last one. So I'll chain 4 to begin. I'm going to make 1 treble stitch, that's UK treble stitch, so US double stitch, into the same space. And then I'm going to make 1 UK treble into each of the treble stitches below. So that's 1 US double into each of the doubles below. So then at the space I'll work 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. So in US terms that would be 1 double, 2 chains, 1 double. So exactly the same as we did in the row below. And I'll carry on round. So 1 stitch, 1 treble stitch into each of these stitches and 1 treble, 2 chains, 1 treble into the corner. So back round to the beginning, just got to do 1 more stitch into that last treble stitch, and then I don't need to work into that corner again. I can just make a slip stitch into that 3rd chain of the beginning 4 chain. So there we go, the complete Daisy Puff hexagon. So at this point you could cut the yarn, depending on how you're wanting to join the hexagons, or if you want to use my join as you go method, my modular join, you want to leave that yarn attached, and I'll show you how to make the joins in the next episode. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, if you could give me a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you'd like to subscribe for more content, I have podcasts, quiet moment vlogs, and sometimes more tutorials. Thanks for watching.